now. Okay, so we talked a little bit about QBasic and how it works and what its point is. It's the first language that the human race has developed that is actually designed to teach people how to program. If you can use this language, you could definitely learn almost any other language. It's a step-by-step procedural language, as in you have to tell it what to do in the order you want it done. It's not like you could dump a bunch of stuff into the code and it knows what you want. You have to think through it logistically. We talked about the first command, which was the print command, wherein anything between quotes, like hello, my name is, will then print out that particular thing. And anything that's not between quotes, that is numbers, is then printed out as math. So I will get a result now if I run the program with F5. Again. That will run a text-based program that looks like this. Hello, my name is, followed by the result of 750 plus 50. If you want full screen on this thing, on Mac, it's Command, oops. Option return. On a PC, it's Alt Enter. It doesn't make a difference one way or the other. That's kind of sort of how the language works with the print command. You'll notice that it's changing things, different colors, and numbering the lines for you. If it's an empty line, it does nothing. So if I do this, for example, it's not going to print a bunch of empty stuff. It's going to skip to the next command. This is called a command. This is an operator, as in it says what the next bit of data is going to be. And the stuff in between the operators is an expression. If I wanted to combine these, I would use a different operator, semicolon, and then you could skip that print command and it will do it all on the same line. There you go. Our first program that we're going to make is going to be kind of sort of the software that's inside of an Interact machine, or just like any kind of like debit or credit card payment thing, which is of course integral to the success of our civilization right now. You know, less touch points and people carrying less cash. The idea with this is that even the simplest of softwares and devices needs to be done correctly, otherwise it's kind of catastrophic. You can't have an Interact machine that has software that's halfway broken, because that would be really bad. For example, if you could enter a negative tips amount. It's like, how much would you like to tip? Negative 100%, and then all of a sudden the vendor owes the client money. That would be ridiculous, wouldn't work. So, I'm going to create this from scratch so you have an idea of what to do. I don't often do this, but I think while we're getting started with this kind of language, really, really new, you should have an opportunity to see it being made from scratch. So here goes. First thing we need to learn how to use is the input statement, which is just the word input. Oops, that. The word input followed by a quotation mark, and then a prompt of some kind, like, how much is the bill? Followed by a semicolon, and then a place to store the information that is inputted. I'm going to call this one bill, because that's that. You'll notice at this point that I haven't got like a big red line on the thing, and then an error down here that says input statement, syntax error on line 1, blah, 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 caused by or after input how much of bill. It shows you where your problem is. In this particular case, I'm just missing a quote. If it's clear like this, it means you've got your syntax right. I'm now going to display the amount of the bill on the screen. For example, print. Your bill comes to, whoops, your bill comes to, if I can type correctly, bill. So this will ask the user for information that will store inside of the word bill, and then this statement will print your bill comes to, followed by whatever was stored in bill. So if I run this program, F5, I'll have this. How much is the bill? I'm going to say it's $76.23, whatever. And then if I press enter, the next thing comes up there. The amount that's typed in is sorted bill. If I spit out bill, it's there. Now we're going to add tax. How much is PST in Saskatchewan?
11%.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
6% or 7, I think.
6%. We're going to set...
Oh, wait, no, minus sales tax.
Yeah, and then you added GST at the same time. Good for you. You're not wrong. But the tax is not 11%. It's 1.6 and 1.5. We're going to set the PST to 6. We're going to set the GST to
7.
5.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing, is that percentages are not actually a number. It's a way of saying things that make sense, kind of, sort of. It's not 6, it's 6%, which is actually 6/100ths of the total. Same thing here. Now, just in case you're wondering, no, you can't do this, even though it looks like it works. That's a different symbol for a different syntax later. We need the real numbers, which are 0.06 and 0.05, or 6 divided by 100, and 5 divided by 100. And I've marked that there. GST equals. Either one of those solutions is fine. I'm going to go with 0.06 so it looks a little bit cleaner. Oops. Now we have to apply that to the bill. We're going to make a new variable called bill after tax. And that's going to be equal to the bill times the GST plus bill times PST. Both of those in brackets to prevent order of operations from getting things all messy. So we've got in here the bill times the GST plus bill times the PST. And then we'll print that out. Your total after tax is bill after tax. Can anybody detect the on-purpose error that I've made so far? If I type in $10 for my total of the bill here, I should get $11 and $11.10, right? Huh. My total after tax is 1.1. Oh, well, interesting. It's calculated how much the tax is, but not actually added it back to the bill. I calculated the tax here, bill times GST plus bill times PST, but I didn't actually add it to the bill. Now, we should talk about something that's called documentation, because that's an acceptable error to make, but to prevent things like this from happening, you should really say what you're trying to do before you're doing it. So what I wanted to do here was add the taxes to the bill. I'm commenting on what it is that I'm doing with a little thingy before it, it's a little apostrophe, and then say add the taxes to the bill. And then, actually calculate the taxes and then add them to the bill. For this first assignment, I'm going to give you the documentation so that you won't have to worry about that. But in the future, you'll be starting with blank documents like this. Let's see if this actually works. If I run it, I should have $11.10. There you go. I know it doesn't put the 0 there. Don't worry about formatting for now. The number is accurate. Okay, now we're going to ask the user to enter a value of tip in percentage and then add that to the bill. How much would you like to tip? Enter a percentage And let's call that tip. Don't call it X or N or Y or Z or something like that. Call it what it is. It's called tip. And then we're going to add the tip in percentage to the bill after tax. Now anything I type after this apostrophe is going to end up being a not syntax error because this just removes the thing from analyzing like it's code. It's just like, oh, this programmer's trying to actually just make a note for themselves. So it ignores it. So we're going to have to make this new one. Let's call this grand total equals the bill after tax plus bill after tax times the tip and I should be good to go. Now here's the issue with this, is that I asked the user to enter a tip in percentage. That is, I needed them to enter like 10% or 15 or 20 or whatever it is that you're going to tip. But if I multiply this by 20, it's going to be astronomical. So I have to do the same thing to the tip as we did to the PST and GST over here, which is turn it into an actual percentage by dividing it by 100. Tip equals tip divided by 100. Done. You make a documentation in here, convert tip into 100, and there we go. Without having a conversation about like the ethics of tipping and should you have a social contract forcing you into adding more to your bill when there's no more value on the actual item that you or service that you purchased. Think of, by the way, that's not my opinion. I don't want to get into it. Think of a tip as just like a user-defined tax. It's like, hey, you're already paying 11% more in taxes. Would you like to pay an extra bit of taxes, but it goes directly to the person that you're interacting with? Or put into a pool for tip out for whatever, however the restaurant or service works? Man, small rant. I took my dog to get a haircut the other day, and their default tip option is 25%.
Why?
But just, if it costs that much to cut the dog's hair, just charge me that. I don't get it. Why am I'm not anti-tipping. I know it makes a big difference. I know that we're doing it forever in our particular culture, but like, where's the line, man?
Tip, Mr. Ballin?
Like, if I can afford it, I'll tip. Because I've been in that industry before. I'm a piano player. I've survived a long time off of tips, people putting tens into the jar so that I would play the tune that they wanted to play. Yeah, I'm pro tipping. I think it's a good idea. But where's the, like, defaulting 25% on a dog's haircut? Whoa. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So think of it as like a user-defined tax. And then I'm going to print at the end here, your grand total is grand total. Run in the program. If I enter a 10 again, I should actually end up with 1223. If I enter 10% as the tip, sorry, 1221, not 1223, my bad. It's the palindrome. I just tried to remember the number by doing that. So if I enter 10 and 10, it'll be 1221. You'll notice that there's nothing in here about like dollar signs and formatting and stuff. That's not what I'm worried about. That's really, really not important. But this, for example, would be a working program that has some documentation in it, and the variables are called what they are. Let's review a little bit, because I went really fast there. I'm trying to stay on schedule so I can talk to the advanced computer science people. Input allows you to put stuff into a variable, which you can call anything you want, but you should really call it what it is. This will work if it's N or Q or that, but you want to call it what it is so that I can tell what your program is doing. If you have a 7,000 line program, you have a bunch of N, Z, Y, Qs, it's not readable anymore. The print statement allows you to, if switching with a semicolon, put set text and then custom information like what's in bill. I'm making the variable of PST into 6% or 6/100ths. the variable of GST into 5/100ths, bill after tax as the bill times the GST plus the bill times the PST plus the bill, printing out the bill after tax, another input statement that allows me to tip, turning the tip into a 100ths, and then adding it all together by putting a grand after tax, bill after tax, and tip, and the grand total. This would score full marks. There's nothing wrong with it. You could definitely gussy these up and do a bunch of cool stuff with them by like putting dollar signs in and then putting extra spaces in if you wanted to make it look all pretty like this and put the line down there. I don't care about format at this point. It's not important at all. Like this one has an extra line in there. It's not part of your marking scheme right now. I will show you what your marking scheme is after this video is done because I'm going to have to go searching for it and I don't want to have to make distractions there. Let's take a look at the actual assignment file so you know what to use. This is on the Google Classroom. It is under classwork and computer science assignments. If you go into qbassignments.zip and open that in a new window and then download it. Come on, you can do it, I believe in you. It's right here. Under basic assignments, if you open beginner assignments and go to tips, hey. Darn it. Oh, this is good. Where is it? I want to open that one. Okay, never mind. How come I can't do that? Why? No, not Chrome. Oh, that's why. File, open. There it is. My bad. Downloads. Tips. There it is. I'll send this out in text. Here's the documentation. Ask the user for a total of the bill before taxes. Apply Saskatchewan PST and GST. Take the bill and add on the PST and the GST. Ask the user to add a tip and percentage. Add the whole thing together and display the results. That's the documentation. That part is done with. How you can hand this in, you can do a number of things. Let's say you have like a finished program. Call it like this. Whoops.
Yo, Mr. Ballin.
Yeah.
It's the software has like it's installed, but I don't know how to access it. Like I can't find it on my desktop.
Okay, I'll help you in a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what you can do with this is like because. Oops. Because this stuff is all plain text, you can just take the entire thing and copy it and put it in an email to me. Or you can just share your screen. Or you could save the file and put it onto Google Classroom or your Drive and share it with me that way. Anywhere you choose to share it with me is fine. You can take a screenshot of it and send me a picture. Whatever works. I'm open to anything. Because there's so few of you, I'm not really concerned about that. Okay. This is where I'll ask you see if there's any questions, and then I'll move on to the the advanced folks.
So do we just leave?
Yeah, I don't anticipate this information to really sink in yet, and that's okay. If we could get to the end of like finishing the tips and the unit converter, like 2 assignments by the end of the week, then we're going to be on track. We can go super slow here. And speaking of which, if all of this is like completely ridiculous, this mode of learning, and you're like just not getting it, or there's a tech issue, and you're starting to like bash your head on the keyboard, that's not helpful to anybody. What you can do in that case is just go crush out a bunch of research and response. They can all be done solo. They don't need supervision, and if you get all 10 of those done in the next 2 weeks, like 1 a day, you're golden. It's fine. Then we'll have a solid 7 weeks at the end to just do this stuff real fast. Again, like I've chopped off all of the fat on the content of the course to a level of where if this happens, and it has, we're fine. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm talking too much. Go find the tips assignment. Read chapters 2, 3, and 4 on the website, and give the tips thing a go. I'll address problems tomorrow, and that's it. I'm gonna stop recording now.